Hey everyone, welcome to The Productive Dev. My name is Alyssa. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Homebrew and how you can use that to automate the installation of Mac applications. So if you've clicked on this video, I assume you know what Homebrew is, but just in case you don't, I'll provide a quick refresher. It touts itself as the missing package manager for Mac, and all that really means is that it allows you to be able to install Mac applications via the command line or the terminal. And if you want to install Homebrew, it's just a simple command right here. You would just do this. Run that in your terminal and it would install it. And then once you have it installed, you then have the ability to install a bunch of different things. And Homebrew kind of categorizes the stuff you can install in like a couple different ways, but the main ones I'll talk about are Formula and Cask. And Formula are just, I think just tools that you can run in the CLI or in the terminal, utilities that do not have GUIs. And so let's say I wanted to search for like the tree utility. This is a popular utility that developers use to be able to view their folders in a certain structure. So you could just search for it and then you would just copy the command here, which is brew install tree, run that in your terminal and that would install it. But let's say you want to look for like a GUI like Raycast. So you could just easily search for Raycast, copy the command here. The only difference is that you have the -- cask in front of it, flag in front of it, which kind of indicates, that it's installing a GUI tool. And so you can install that. You can also install fonts, which I think a lot of people don't know. So like, let's say you're searching for this particular nerd font, like you want a nerd font that you can use, icons and stuff with. You can go ahead and install fonts as well. So all you really got to do is just go to brew.sh, which is, like I said, the homepage, search for what tool or utility that you want, and then install it. Not all applications or utilities are available from Homebrew, but I would say 95% of what I want is installable via Homebrew. This makes it so that, you don't have to go to the dedicated site's, marketing page or whatever to install the app. You can just do it from your terminal. So this is one way you can automate it. Like if you're just like, hey, I want to install Alfred or Raycast or whatever, you just go here, search, run the command, install it. But the real reason I want to show you Homebrew is that we can leverage it to be able to, create scripts so that whenever we say set up a new computer, we can then use, the applications that we typically install and have a list and then be able to install it via Homebrew. And there are kind of two different ways that you can do this. One way I think is the way that Homebrew recommends, which is by creating a brew file. And I'm going to show you that first. And then another way is a bit more manual. It's kind of how I do it, but I actually create like a brew install script and I manually add in what particular, applications I want to install and do it that way. But I'll show you first how to do it the Homebrew way. One way you can do this is if you go to your terminal, and I'm actually I have a .files repo here, but if I was to run brew bundle dump, what this is going to do is go ahead and look at all the applications and stuff I have installed and create something called a brew file. So now if I go to VS Code, let me go to my brew file here. Notice that it lists out all the different things that I have installed. So we have brew, bat, commitizin, all these things, and we have all the casts that I have installed. And then I noticed that it's even including a lot of VS Code stuff, so extensions that I have. And so this, including the VS Code extensions, is kind of one reason why I don't love using the brew file. I just feel like it adds a lot of bloat. I also find that like at work, when I'm using my work computer, sometimes you're installing other applications, and those applications will use Homebrew, I guess, to install certain things. And so then you have just a lot of things that like, okay, I didn't really install this. It's installed from another app. And so, that's why I don't use brew files. But if you did want to use a brew file, this is kind of a quick and easy way for you not to have to manually track it. It just gives you a list of all the things on your computer. And then if you wanted to go and like install this, say you had a brew file already, you could just I think it's just brew, bundle. And I think the install is optional, but you can do brew bundle or brew bundle install, I believe. And then that will go through, take a look at your brew file, and then install the applications. So this is one way to do it. You can keep this in a GitHub repo or in Google Drive or whatever. And then anytime you set up a new computer, you can just go ahead and do this. So just brew bundle dump to get a exhaustive list of all the things you have on your computer. Then when you get a new computer, just do brew bundle install and do that. So this is kind of a quick and easy way to be able to do it. But the way I personally do it is I actually have a brew install script. And like I said, this is a bit more manual process. I actually, I'm going to go to my blog post that I actually have. So this is part of like kind of a 3-part series that I kind of do with managing my .files and applications. And one of them is installing things via Homebrew. And so I actually have, this is old school, I know, but an Excel spreadsheet of all the applications that I have. And then I have a little, column there about can I install it manually or can I install it via Homebrew, etc. But basically what I do is I have a script here that I've created. And what this does is that whenever I go on a new computer, this first conditional here is just checks if I already have Homebrew installed. If I have Homebrew installed already, it'll just go ahead and skip this step. But if I don't have it installed, like on a new computer, it will go ahead and run that script as bin bash, -h. And remember, this is the same script that we saw if I go to the main Homebrew page. So it's the same script that you see here. I'm just running it here as a bash script. And so it will go ahead and pull it down and install Homebrew for me. Then what I do, which is, this is manual. You don't need to do this part. This is just how my brain works. But what I do is I categorize the different things I want to install via Homebrew into categories. So I have like applications. These are all the GUI apps, the ones with the -- cask flag. Then I have all the terminal apps, and then I have like my fonts kind of split out here. And how I manage my dot files, it just kind of works this way because I use like a Docker container to sometimes test out my dot file scripts and stuff. So this is kind of why I have it this way. You don't need to do it like this. It's also kind of a bit of OCD probably, but I'm just showing you how I do it. These are different ways to manage it. But the crux of what I want to show you here is that, I have a script that I can run, and then this will also go and install the application. So what I do is in my terminal, I can go like /, so mine's called brew install. So I can do /brew install.sh. It knows that Homebrew's already installed, so it says Homebrew's already installed, and then I can go through and the different categories, and it would install that subset of things. So if I say install applications, no. If I did this, I was going to say no to all of them because I already have everything installed. I don't really want to mess up my computer. But theoretically, if it had gone through and installed these things, it would go through each category, and then at the end it would say installation using Homebrew is complete. And so I just wanted to show you kind of the two different ways that you can use Homebrew to automate the process of installing applications on your Mac. You can do it my way, more manually, or the Brewfile way. But just wanted to show you that this can really help speed you up so that whenever you set up a new application, you don't have to worry about manually go to the application site and download it. You can just have a script, run it, and then within like minutes you'll have all your applications on your new computer. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you run Homebrew a different way, and I'll catch you in the next video.